Blah, 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 blah. So already working here. hell? Okay, I'm pressing the wrong key. Yeah, okay. Undo that key. V. Probably the norm. It does have a norm. Maybe we should just name it norm as well. Oh, no, that's not explicit. I thought, why not? But I want to return stuff like this. Otherwise, I have to put the vector in front of this. So the why not is I'm lazy. Well, I don't want to type the vector everywhere. Let's just return an initializer list. And that's incorrect. No, sorry, it was another one. And this one, I guess. Yeah, that's the last one I edited. So eigentype divided by a scalar. I expect that to return an eigentype again, so I want to construct a vector from an eigentype. But I don't want to put the vector in front of here. I mean, I don't see the reason. So that is then why it is not, I should not use explicit. Yeah, that's highly annoying. Suppose I don't have an X and a Y, etc. anymore. Maybe I can just print the eigentype. Right, cross, yeah. I think that's cross product exists in 7 dimensions? What? Yeah, that only makes sense in 2 dimensions. I mean, otherwise you get too much floating point around rule errors, I think. Or they must by coincidence just lay in, I don't know. I could look at the projection in a certain plane. Or rather a plane spanned by 2 of the coordinates. I doubt that is very useful though. Should already work then. That was intersection. Intersection with. Yeah, what about the print on here? Oh, it just prints to prints point and direction, which still exists. And same thing here. And double. It's not the same. Oh. Oh, this is a free function again. Yeah, this is probably a friend. Yeah, no, I don't get it. Looks like copy constructor. I want to use the copy constructor, but it's trying to use this. Did I change that? Probably. This is instantiation of undefined template. Cannot do that then. This is the only thing I can choose from. What the hell? Okay, well, table flip. Again. No indent. Or would it have no indent? Mm-hmm. No, that nothing works here. The fuck. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we need a double requires. Yeah, unlikely, I don't know. Or braces. Oh, it's not pointing to this, it's pointing to the parenthesis and then to this U. The problem is that this U is not expanded. Nope. There are concepts. I mean, if this is allowed, why would this not be allowed? Is that because of the OR? Why would I not be able to refer to icon type here? Maybe just the class is still incomplete or something like that. No, I have no idea. I'm just gonna use this. But it's really weird. Ah, fuck. Just forgot that. Yeah, double is default. So. Mouth line. Is that true? That's cool. Just remove the double everywhere. Well, it has to be true because of that. What the hell? Oh, it's forward declared. Yeah, and it doesn't know what it is, of course. Pause that here. Oh my god, it gets to source. Takes a vector type and a float type, where the vector type is math vector, which is configurable from arguments explicitly. I should add an initializer list, I guess, or remove the initializer list. What? I think the problem is here explicit. Yeah, this should get the same concept magic as the other one. Vector, right? Let's just go to math. Not sure where I added it, but I edited a lot of files. No, not that one. These. One of these has this template thing with a U in it, I think. I think it was a direction. Yeah. So instead of arcs, I'll use U, and then you need this-ish. Today I had a visitor and I said ish a few times, and then subconsciously. And then he asked, what does that mean? So I had actually a discussion about it. Well, discussion, yeah. I had to think about what it meant. So that's why I know. I realized that I'm saying it. So I said we need this-ish. So the verdict was that ish means in the direction of, but not as far as. So we need this. Actually, I meant, yeah, sort of still. And it wasn't. I was not modifying need. I was modifying this. But okay, this dash-ish, I guess. So saying we need this-ish means we need almost this with a few changes. But it looks like maybe a lot of changes. Okay, this is direction, Ctrl T, no, go back, yes. No, do not go back. I just copied it, and now I want to go to wherever we see arcs. Was it already the last file? Yeah, that was the last file. That's at least something. I don't see an arcs here. Arcs, we have an arcs here. Okay, so is the stuff here? So D underscore is a V. Direction turned into a vector. And then everything is convertible to a T, that's still correct. And if n equals 1, then we want size of view is 1. That's just kind of nonsense. Just test n, man. Anyway, I don't want to interfere with the copy constructor or the move constructor apparently. Or the eigentype, yeah. If you have a constructor of that at all. Well, I do have that, and I do have the copy constructor. I'm not sure if I have to do this actually, otherwise I would also have to make sure that we don't use this one, or this one, or this one, or this one. It's kind of tiresome, and I don't think it's needed. It's only needed because the copy constructor wasn't defined. Maybe I should just define the copy constructor over having this. So now I ruled out. So now the copy constructor is not defined by this thing. Therefore the compiler will define it. But I don't have to rule out, I think, eigentype. Because the compiler doesn't generate that anyway. And I have it explicitly defined. So it's going to use this one anyway. It's not even ambiguous. Because this is an exact type. I think I can just remove this. Do not replace copy move constructor. Made it const expression. Does it even work? I think I remember vaguely that I tested it before, and eigen did not have const expression constructors. So this will always fail then. Theoretically, yeah, it could be a const expression, but I guess if it compiles, I can leave it in. But yeah, it's I don't think it will be a const expression constructor. Oh yeah, this thing here, or rather this thing. I don't want to test the size of u here. I just want to test n. Does that make sense? Now we have an explicit copy initialization. Why? Where? Tell me. Requested here, explicit declared here. The eigen, yeah. Oh, that doesn't work. Yeah. Well, v is eigen. Sorry, v is an eigentype. So why would I not be able to do that? Oh, because the point. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. This doesn't. This shouldn't be explicit. Just a bit weird. I don't know. I think I removed one of the others. Explicit something eigentype. Seems a bit silly. There's only one left. Okay. No matching constructor for initialization of direction, aka direction 2. This is trying to construct using initialization and initializer, I think. 2 elements, and these 2 are supposed to be points. Note, candidate constructor not viable. Cannot convert initializer list to const point type. Well, why not? And then we go immediately to the next candidate. I think it should be using this one. No, this is direction. It should be using that same thing, it shouldn't it? But then defined for the point. Yeah, direction takes 2 points. Does it take 2 points? Yes, it should be taking 2 points. Yeah, this one, yeah. But it is explicit. Did I have explicit before? Because I don't know, man. I gave something, and it's an unknown revision in working tree because arguments. I did have explicit before. That was a point. Now it is a point. And I guess math point didn't change. That did, of course. We are trying to construct it. I think the one that I'm using here is trying to construct it from the arguments. Although it's not explicit anymore, but it is this one. That fails apparently. Well, n equals 2. We are passing 2 arguments for sure. And they are convertible to a double for sure. And not n equals 1. Well, now n is 2, so that is also not. And explicit. I think that should not matter really. But yeah, this one was not explicit. So let me try removing this explicit here. Otherwise I wouldn't know. Otherwise it's something horrible going wrong here. Const expression. Just in case, remove the const expression too. See, that worked. But now, which one was it? The explicit or the const expression? The explicit. I still want to try then to add a const expression back. No, can have the const expression. Apparently. Chosen constructor is explicit in copy initialization. Well, where is that explicit coming from? Oh, that's the same thing, of course. I copied it all over the place. You have to remove it everywhere. Warning, instantiation of variable math direction to double right required here, but no definition is available. My guess is that that's because it is no template. Yeah, I mean, I have to move this to the header now. So let's just do that. PJ Visual.cxx. So not where I wanted to go. But the reason they were in a .cxx file is because I need a header before I can do this. This is, oh, this is direction. What do I need then? Line type. This doesn't need anything. Print on neither. Maybe just line type. Line is for declared, not even line type. Oh, line pieces here. Oh, line, what did I say? Line type? Yeah, line type, okay. Line was for declared. So I need an include before this point, which is really annoying. I keep forgetting how to do that. I wrote it in a Stack Overflow answer somewhere how to do that, which I cannot find back probably. And I also did it in certain projects, but how to find that? I wish my memory worked. Nope. I think there's also a define involved. Define of something. It's nothing. Nothing. I have too many projects. Suppose that somewhere in here it is already being used though. So if I just do a find here, type F, well, definitely a header. No, actually it has, no. No, never mind. Start must be a header, and then I'm gonna do a grab, execute a grab for I think you can get close by looking for if not def something, and then recognize that that define. Oh boy, and I get all this third-party stuff in it, which is usually way more than my own code. I think so. VSync is not mine. I should just not do the hallway arc thing to begin with. Vulcan. It's also a pretty good one to kick out maybe, although I have my own Vulcan stuff. External, definitely don't want to have that. External. I think this is my own Vulcan actually. VK utils should not be there. Yeah, I myself do not use if not def a lot apparently. As soon as you have a really big blob of if not devs, it's some external project. It's also not mine. It's CBBS something. Yep, there it is. Definitions. Let's look at central task. So we need a guard macro. And then immediately after that do the include. That I need. And I needed the line type, so that would be line.h. Control top. And the same guards, but then with underscore definitions. Because it's outside the other guard. Obviously, first have to close the namespace before doing the include. Yeah, might as well open the namespace again. Yeah. You, okay. And I need to do that for each of those classes, really, because they all depend on each other. And hopefully that's enough, otherwise I'll have to use dot inline dot inl or whatever. It's also including direction. So using that as well then. Direction. Oh, this file. Right. And the same for point, line piece. They all have to be gone. Do I know these two are necessary? Yeah, not een paar maar once, otherwise. Actually, I think we need a second include, maybe, to pick up the definitions. Well, is that always going to happen after this point? I mean, if I think that, no, I think the programma should not be there. The other one that I already did was direction. Yep, let's remove it. Which was the next one? Line, for example. main.cxx math shift v dollar percentage d, and then there's no includes here. Well, in that case, I can just do it like that, I suppose. It's a bit weird though. Point type. We have point is already included and direction as well. Yeah, okay. Could just move that stuff here, in this case. Git remove, it was already changed. Line. Then you have to do a line piece still, I think. Well, I think it's clearly still there. That it needs a direction, yeah. Yeah, so include direction.h, and if math line piece h not defined line piece h, define line piece h. And then here the same thing, but then with definitions. That was the last one, it seems. Pray that it works. Yeah, this is not working. What the? So we include line piece.h, and that includes point.h. But late, after line piece was defined, you would say that this 69 is included. That then includes direction.h, which complains that line piece does not exist. It's kind of strange though, because that should have been defined already. This is included after that point. It's included here, which means that point is defined. It's included from point.h. Yeah, then there is no line in there. It's indeed. Oh yeah. So line piece includes no. Yeah, the thing is, I guess a direction needs line piece, so I have to include line piece again. No template in line piece. But it's in line piece itself. Huh? Okay, so the problem is that this point here, we define this first, and then we include point old age, which needs line piece and then includes it again, skips this and still doesn't have it defined. Yeah, I don't want point to be recursively including that, but it does. That's the whole thing, of course. Each of those headers is just needs all the others. So the thing is that oh, I remember now actually. Yeah, you should not use anything at all in the block above here. So, oh, no, I can't avoid that. I need a point. I need the point. I mean, I feel like I have to put it here, but let's have a look at a few other examples. Oh, but here the include is done after this one is finished. Although maybe that doesn't matter. And then only includes it if partition iterator.h, which is the define of that one. Apparently that's also a possibility, or a pattern, or sometimes necessary. Yeah, I think the trick of doing the include before the end if and then not, etc. It only works if you have two dependent files. And we have multiple dependent files. So I probably have to do the same thing as here in Vulkan. Yeah, this one has a dot inline dot h. This is a better example. This one doesn't include before a define. Wait a minute, that is not true. No. Still a definitions thing. No, this one has a yeah. They put the definitions in a dot inline dot h file. That's the last resort. Yes, here all the includes are done after defining already that. Hmm, 207. They look all the same, which is of course should. That's the idea behind the pattern. You can just blindly repeat it and it works. I think I'm just gonna try this. To get one more ish. This one. Yeah. So I think I should try to get it to work, including it like that. However, that means that point can never use that thing, but of course it cannot, because point is needed by this class, so that should be okay. Should be okay. Yeah, but then this should be included there for more robustness, and then only be included if not already defined. Math direction h. I don't know which one I did. That one is standalone apparently. Unlikely. This thing needs a point. Can't work. This can't work. Don't tell me line b's and direction don't include vector. Ugh, let me put math first. Math is first. Yeah. What's wrong with syntax? To give me from the directory math first other directories when I jump to a class. I think I need to make an overview. What is using what? I mean, I'm doing this a bit slow and maybe seemingly stupid, but that is because I know it is a very difficult thing. Very difficult. And I put a lot of time at some point into figuring out exactly how you can untangle mutable dependent headers, and I was hoping for a quick fix, but now let's finish this first. I start with vector. Vector is not that's really weird. Why? Yeah, it also doesn't include anything. So if we get here and we just continue, then why not? If it compiles. And then point. But yeah, vector doesn't even define that anything. That's weird. Probably should. It's just part of this whole dance. Yeah, it's the same thing here, right? I mean, it just continues. There's no include here. There is an include here. Okay, how to solve this problem? Okay, I'm going to make a list, I think, with what is absolutely needing what before it can be defined. Sorry, before it can be declared. Circular header dependency, whatever. And I need the same list as before. Good look at those. So the class vector requires, no, this does not really require it. I could for declare point. It does require eigentype because it's, but it's not one of my classes. And direction type here is taken by value. I could make that a const reference and then move that thing down, theoretically. Probably should do that. Otherwise it depends on direction, because this is a by value. And I'm calling eigen on it. Same for line piece. Oh no, that's a const reference. We could forward declare a line piece and then put the definition of this constructor lower. I'm just going to decouple everything, even if it is not needed, as it were. Seems that now, direction type is required, I think. Yeah. I don't think you can you return a forward declared type? Uh-oh. I don't know. Seriously, why do I not know that? Apparently you can. But I don't think you can take stuff by value. Might as well test that now. It's 2. Also works. Gotta be kidding me. Yeah. No problem whatsoever, man. Okay. I'm gonna go back to by value there then. The only thing I'm pretty sure of, and I would be shocked if that didn't work, is it still worked. I mean, then something's wrong with my test. You cannot declare something of a forward declared type. This should definitely not compile. Please let it not compile. Thank God, Field A as incomplete type. If it is a member, then you really need to know the definition. But yeah, this thing only has one member, and that's an eigenvector, which is not even my one of my classes. So the next step is then to for declare it, as in point. Everything could be for declared, wasn't it? Point, direction, and line piece, I think, should be the only ones, because they are mentioned here as the using stuff. And I probably should put class in front of it. And then we don't need to include this. That makes a big difference, doesn't it? And now we get compile errors in that header file, quite obviously. And this bloody write is. I already had compile errors, so maybe, but okay. It's in vector.h, that's good. Undeclared identify eigen. No. Why? Did I? Oh, I removed something that included eigen. Yeah, now we have, of course, to include eigen ourselves. That is eigen / core. I think it is. Yep. I had it in point before, no longer including that. Now you get an error in intersection points dot 256. So unrelated to my current problem. So I want to use a math vector, I think, and instead of intersections vector. Should completely get rid of that. So this whole thing has to be replaced with math vector. I'm not sure if Hyperplane includes math. Yep, math vector I mean. It does, so now everywhere we have vector, we want to use math vector. Which for some reason reversed also. What is this? That's the definition. Utils vector type. Okay, vector type is no good, so thank God for the using thing, so I don't have to change everything in many places. Yeah, this is all just vector type. This is utils vector, something else. And vector type, utils vector. Okay, we're done. Not that that will compile, but okay. Hyperplane does not have an AI unlikely. I don't think, maybe I shouldn't use that anymore. Because these days we have an unlikely. Invalid operands to binary expression. It's again the same problem or not? Oh no, that is the problem because I changed instantiation. I changed the type of the vectors, and we can no longer multiply them. Yeah, I think it's just a dot member function now. Dot. Invalid operands to binary, and again. This is the what I really want here is the square of the length. Can I just better call that now, because n underscore is a vector type, which is a math vector, which is now built on top of I have a norm squared now, which might be faster than a dot product with itself. I very much doubt it. But this calls squared norm on the eigenvector, which is maybe faster some magical way. And here I have the square root. I should probably also replace that then with a call to length, sorry, norm. How many other dot multiplications do we have? Here's one. Oh, more. Dot. This is a double time, so it should still work. This is again a dot product. This is a dot product. And that is a scalar product. And here is another scalar product. And oh, that was, we are around already. No member named eigen in math direction. You know what? I'm getting the feeling that the problem is already solved. Get all kinds of errors, but not anymore. That a class isn't defined. That actually was already included. Maybe the whole thing is solved already now. I don't know. Yeah. Well, math vector.age line 50 error no named eigen in math direction. Well, it should have. I don't get why it's jumping here. It's in a completely different directory even. North direction. That doesn't have an eigen. Okay, we want to have that. So eigen, just like all the others that have eigens. which are added, for example, here in point and just below the constructors, before operators. Constructor, operator, so more or less there. And this one then doesn't have a P, it does have a D. Wow, you really got something compiling there. Template argument for template type parameter must be a type. Yeah, hyperplane. It's that one still takes an. Maybe we should reverse these as well then. Call that capital N as well, and let's call this T. Now I'm in a mood anyway. I could use standard floating point for the others as well. So this now becomes capital N and T, just like everywhere else. Oh, now we have an N underscore. So yeah, it's so confusing. That's why I use the lowercase n. Yeah, for this, because you use capital N for the normal. Should just call this normal. See, now you have a problem here. Let's call n normal. Capital N. Oh, don't use abbreviations. Normal. Normal. Okay, that looks ugly, of course. Yeah, that's why I use it. That's why I call it n. We're using it in the documentation everywhere. Yeah, that makes it difficult. Oh, did not want to do that. And undo. 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 Oh, the T, we can use the T, I think. That was not a problem. Let's make this a lowercase and then. Or maybe I could use dim here or something. The dim of dimensions. But the thing is, I want to use the same thing. So in math vector, I use capital N, and now here suddenly I use capital N as normal. Bytes each other like crazy. Maybe you should call it normal here anyway, and then in the comments talk about n. But it might still be confusing, because then I talk about n, while n is defined as the number of dimensions. But I don't think I use this n here a lot. I just use it here. That's like the only two places where it appears. Yep. or use lowercase n in all the other to vector itself. But yeah, then usually I use uppercase for template arguments, parameters I mean. So kind of want to use a capital N here, uppercase N. And a member shouldn't be starting with a uppercase. This should be a lowercase n at most. Better just, you know, written out fully. So the main problem is a confusion in the comment, I think. Comments, but yeah. One comment extra and we solved it. So let's do the switch. I'm gonna make this uppercase N as it should be. Yeah, it was ChatGPT that came up using T. So I was using float type, which is maybe a mouthful, but still a lot more clear. Until you get used to T being, you know, the scalar type. Talking about that, I think that all of these things that use a T-defined scalar type, which I am not using, but hey, it might come in handy. Sometimes you just have this type and you want to know what the T is, There you can use a hyperplane double colon scalar type to get the t. But I mean, if you have scalar type, you might as well want to know what n is, right? So maybe I should add a const expression with the number of dimensions as well. But well, let's add that by the time I need it. Here I'm explicitly calling it plane constant, so I might as well use C maybe. Yeah, the B comes from the literature. They often use B. And then if it is machine learning, the B means bias. And here it turns out to be actually the plane offset, I think. No, the distance to the distance from the plane to the origin. It's just a minus sign difference, but still. I should have that documented. Yeah, the plane offset is the row of the Hesse form. B is even worse. It's not even a Euclidean distance. So it is the plane offset multiplied by negative the length of the normal vector that you did pass. You can also do the reverse, so talk about the signed distance of the origin from the hyperplane multiplied by the length of the normal. Then it's a plus. Although in this picture that is still a negative thing, because the origin is now on the other side of the hyperplane than where the end points to. No, it would be positive in that case. What? No. I don't want to talk about it anymore. It took me 2 days to get this documentation right. It still confuses me. Okay, so what was I doing? Yeah, let's just change all of this to T. And now vector type is math vector. I think I have like a literally vector type without capital V and T. In the other, well, maybe not, but you know, there are direction type, point type, stuff like that. And that's how I like it, like scalar type. Probably I'm just going to change the vector type as well to a vector type. Or you can do it the other way around. This is the type of the normal. I could call it a normal type. But this kind of the convention that I usually use, yeah. Just the name of the variable and then underscore type. For the others, it's also not it's not true that this is the vector type. For example, inside direction, I have a direction type, which is then the eigenvector. So this is not really the same as direction type. That was an internal type. I never have anywhere a vector type equals the math vector. Then it is just vector. So I changed my mind. Let's change vector type to let's change it to normal type. That is more what I normally do. But then suddenly I return the normal type as intersection. What? Or we have a difference between 2 points that is the same type as the normal. Yeah, that's all good and nice, but no. Nah, that's not it. Yeah, I can't do that. Okay, I changed my mind again. Let's make it vector type after all then. Yeah. I now have to switch the n and the float type everywhere, because the hyperplane is now the math hyperplane. But this isn't even inside math. How does it know that my hyperplane is the math hyperplane? Because I say so, okay. I kind of want that to work though. Or does it already? In which case I don't even have to... Well, this is just float type, of course. This one still has to be changed. No, it doesn't. What was I looking at? Oh, I was looking at the hyperblock. That one is correct. Soon it will actually compile, I think. It's within half an hour. Too few template arguments for class template hyperplane. Okay, yeah, well, yeah. I probably just should do the same thing as for the other stuff. Yeah, the default that is equal to double. make up my mind yet if I expect linker errors to occur. Guess not. That was the case at some point. We have a transform source point derived from cairowindow point, and suddenly you don't have an x underscore anymore, which is true. Now I think that cairowindow point is just a math point. Nope. Or is it? I'm still not there, am I? This is plot point. And draw point, math point. Now we get math point before cairo point, or not? Nope. I skipped over it. What is this? Draggable. Cairowindow point is a math point. Okay. It's defined in draggable. I was like looking at the file name and think, well, that can't be it. No. Draggable defines what point is. And yes, it is the default here can be removed because I don't want to use it if it is defaulted anyway. I don't want to specify it, I mean. This is just a math point, therefore nothing. What is the problem? Oh yeah, the x underscore. I guess I just should use accessors now. Because this is two-dimensional, because we are in cairowindow, and then I would rather talk about just x and y. Wow. Template arguments is forward declared. Yeah, it is probably forward declared. It's declared here. It is forward declared. Which is literally declared here, and I removed the double. And I remember now that I added the double. Not adding a comment. Let me remove the double 5 more times and then add them back every time. Eventually I will learn. Our usual class template mod, the vector requires template arguments. Translation vector, okay. That should work. I mean, a 2, obviously. Now you can argue I should do a using vector type there as well. And I have been thinking about it, as you notice. Vector 26, our use of class template math direction, and so on and so on and so on. This is a vector. Why would I accept a math direction there? Yeah, well, the answer is probably why not. The E and the 2 are not even close. Okay, what point is this? I think it is a point of the source points. This one. That just takes a double X and Y. Tja. Yeah, you begin at the beginning. Point. Man, why do I not just inherit constructors from cairowindow point, which is probably a math point? I think the answer was that I want the default constructor to be the origin. Or I didn't want to inherit all the constructors, just those two. But yeah, okay. Okay, whatever. Use of class template, blah blah blah, and so on and so on. I'm not that happy, I must say, that I have to add 2 everywhere. I'm getting less and less happy. Finally, it compiles, and we have link errors. Undefined reference to math operator minus. That is slightly strange, because I don't even have the .cxx files anymore. So maybe I deleted one that still had code in it. Would it be that one, which is missing? Math point. Subtracting a math point from a math point. It should be defined in point, isn't it? I mean, it's a point and a point. Maybe others are missing, but I'm just never used them. This is every time subtraction between 2 points. Okay, well, we add them as well, so where's that undefined? Or is that also undefined? Or is that nonsense? I don't think we add them actually. You can't add 2 points. I think subtracting 2 points gives a vector, but give point dot h operator minus. Yeah, the operator minus is defined for as a friend for 2 points here. And I still have that here. Clearly that should have been defined in the .cxx. And then it should have been moved over here. I would say this is the one. So why am I not seeing this one? Define the namespace math. I think one of the reasons is that the friend defines something that it makes up and it doesn't match this one. I saw that before. So point.h. Those friends things, if you just declare a friend in the middle of a class, it sometimes just makes something up. And I can't even figure out where it put this thing here. That I have no idea where it put it. Or no, there was but last we investigated that during a stream, and it ended up as an something that is more or less the same thing, but it has a different mangling. So the assembly symbol is different. That's why you get a linker error. And that had to do with that if you put it as a friend like this in a template class, yeah, I have no other words. It fucks up. It just fucks up. And I think the conclusion then was that I couldn't define the friend. It just failed. There was no way to make it a friend. Seriously. But yeah, then why is this one working? Or is it? Now normally I get that fixed-ish by declaring them before we declare them as a friend. So before here as a free function. But that didn't even work the last time. Now I need a forward declaration of point as well. All very annoying. And yeah, these are thus later on defined as template functions, which is what they are. Because exactly like this, well, not exactly, because the vector type is unknown. Let's have a look at how that is defined down there. Oh, not at all. Okay, now I'm confused. What did I can't use vector type, maybe. Maybe that's the problem. I just should declare them exactly the same as here. The vector. Anyway, let's move this one up. That's a forward declaration then. Maybe the return type is the problem here. I don't know. I mean, if I do one, I want to do both. They're not that different. For declaration, and then maybe we should use the exact same thing here now. It does use that. Yeah. And if that doesn't work, then maybe I should even add the NT here. Although, I mean, what else can it be? It's a template. It's just the current thing. Although that is part of the problem, I think. I mean, you can make a friend like this in two ways. Either it's a friend where this point can have a different n and t than the class. Or the thing that is passed, which should determine the I'm missing a template now, am I not? This is, oh, wait a minute. See, the free function has a template in front of it. And here I'm using the template from the class in which it is defined. So it's just, the problem here is that in the friends, you know, I mean, only the function with the same n and t is allowed to access the private member of this class. That's what the friend is doing, I think. While that is a different function then, ends up as a different mangling than the free function. If I would make the actual free function a friend, then every free function with any arbitrary n and t would be able to access it. In which case, this friend is a template. So maybe that's how I should do it. Okay, let's first try it with this for declaration. And that did not work. So now let's try, well, that was this kind of stupid idea, but let's make them look the same, as in I just add n and t here as well. Going to need to do that anyway for the next step. This thing somehow seems to work though. I mean, I don't get a link error for that one. Still the same error. Yep. So then my last hope is that if we make the friends a template explicitly, but then of course you have to call them differently. So now I say, okay, that function, and then whatever the parameters are, I don't really care. They are friends of this class. Yes, that works. Okay, cool. Well, at least it's possible to get it to compile using a friend. But you have to make, yeah, the whole template with any argument. A friend. Well, can I test something? I think I can. Or maybe running Hypercube is using it. I don't know. Intersection 0. That doesn't look good. Pretty sure there was 140 before. It should be 140. But yeah, it's too late. I'm gonna stop. Too late to continue and find what the hell the problem is. I'm afraid I did make a very big change. Git status. These are the changes that I made in the main project, and then we have cairowindow, we had some changes. Some changes. And we have in math a lot of changes. So good luck finding out where the problem is in the 10 minutes that I have left before going to bed. So I'm not doing that. I wish everyone a good night.